how have you found good quality team members? Is it just while you're out and about, like recruiting or job ads or social media? How have you found good people for your agency?
I think one of the first things that I did was getting better at myself, because sometimes we attract people related to what you are. Like I got to a point in my career, maybe 3 years into my career, that I was attracting just bad people. And then I realized that there's not about them. There's something about me that I'm hiring these people. I'm allowing this happening to me. More work on me, more coaching, reading, and also listening to people like Brian Tracy. He has given me so much power, so much knowledge, and that helped me to identify the people that I want to.
Welcome to another episode of the A1 Experience. It has been a while since I dropped the podcast, but no better time than now because I have somebody amazing here in the office who's in town for the Farmers Embrace Conference, and she's one of the top farmers agency owners in the country. I'm super excited to have you. Meyling, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I have been your friend for a long time, and I said, finally, I get to know your agency. Thank you.
I feel like I know you. That's what social media has done. So it's a pleasure to finally meet you, and I'm excited to get to know you a little bit more. But if you don't know Meyling, Marin, she is a top 1% farmers insurance agent out of Riverside, California. She came to the U.S. in 2012 with a master's degree in science, but like many ambitious professionals, it was a tough job market to crack. Instead, she pivoted into insurance. In 2013, fast forward to today, she is one of the top farmers agencies in the country, $6 million book, specializes in commercial, part of the Farmers Elite President's Council group, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully I nailed the introduction. So Meyling, tell a little bit about your story.
I came to U.S. in 2012. From Nicaragua, as you can tell my accent, right? So English is my second language. So when I came, I had to learn a new language. And I didn't find anything related to my career. I'm an environmental scientist. I have a master's degree actually in environmental risk, and trying to apply to different jobs and couldn't get anything related to my career. And one day I was looking at a video. I was actually looking at a commercial on TV, and they said, oh, you want to change your career? We are hiring for insurance broker. So I said, okay, let me go ahead and try that. I went and applied, and I got hired, and I became the manager 2 years later. And then one day I realized insurance is a good business to be in with, because you want to buy a car, you need to have insurance. Mm-hmm. You want to buy a home, you need insurance. So I realized insurance is a need, and it's a really good business to be in. And I did a little bit of research, and I found out that even when we had the Great Depressions and economy, we insurance agents never had a recession. They actually grew. So I found that's a good business to be in. So I went on my own. So I decided to try a company that also specialized in customer service, and a company that is more like customer centered. Like the brokers are a little bit more like the sales driven. And I wanted it to find a company that can provide that support and can be there when the customer more needed it. So I went to Farmers. I realized Farmers is a great company, so I went and applied, and I began as an insurance agent in 2018.
Okay. And so you were there for about 5 years at the brokerage. You could have probably went independent, but you decided, let me open up a farmer's agency.
Yes. I actually searched up farmers that has a lot of products that they sell. And it's the diversity that I think it will make a business success. Like you can sell auto, home, business, workers' comp, life, financial services, so and everything within the same roof. So I saw the value of that diversity and with farmers, and then the value that farmers give agents. Like one day I want to retire, I can just sell my book to whoever wants to pay more, and that's my asset. So I found out that's the best way to do it because of the value that the book has. Yeah.
Yeah. So you started your agency in 2018. And then what? 2 years later, COVID happens. Well, how was that? I mean,
Exactly.
and then you're in California, which has its own troubles. Like, talk to us about how you've. Not a lot of agents have survived the last couple of years. I'll just say that. Talk to us about how you've thrived.
Yeah, the first 2 years were more like the one-on-one sales. I went to marketing events outside, talking to people, let me quote your business, and doing all one-on-one sales. But when COVID happens, all the marketing places that we used to go and have our booth and promote ourselves in community events, those were locked down. Like nobody can go anywhere. You had to be home. We had to shut down the office. I was blessed to say that my mentality is like when something difficult happens, I always see what is this teaching me. In reality, that was teaching me that I had to adapt and I had to see other ways to bring the business. And I went to internet leads. So when COVID happens, people were Googling online. They were in their homes. The people were more perceptive to receive calls from us, and so I said this is the way to do it. So I went into the role of internet leads.
Okay.
And I had my best year. 2020 was my best year.
Wow.
I double production with the internet leads, and I did not let my team go. I hire more, and we went from 2 producers to 4 producers. That's when I double my staff
Gotcha.
members.
And how many staff members do you have now?
I have 9.
9. Okay. And it's a mix between service, sales. What's the breakdown?
We have a personal lines team. There are 4 producers there, and then we have a customer service team. There's 2, and then we have the commercial team, there's 3.
3. Gotcha.
So the commercial team, they do more like the new business, and we have a little bit of a part-time that is helping us with the commercial services. But my commercial team, they do the quoting, and they present, and they also bring new business.
Okay. And you said that you have a more of a, I guess, commercial focus right now. Like 70% of your business is commercial?
Yes.
Nice.
Up until 2 years late, 2 years ago when when the insurance crisis came to California.
Right. And that's been probably, like, I wish I could focus more on commercial. We haven't, just because my company doesn't really like have a big appetite for it. But it seems like there's a lot more bang for your buck, I guess you could say, like bigger premiums.
Yeah.
Bigger
accounts.
Bigger accounts, yeah. So how do you like, I guess now that you've pivoted since 2 years ago, you're like, are you probably see yourself going more commercial, or you're like keeping this like 70-30 mix?
That's a good question. Now that we open for auto and home in California and farmers really wants to grow that line of business, I'm not going back to auto and home. We are selling a lot. We are above everybody else in my district in auto and home, but I'm not leaving commercial. So what that means is I'm gonna keep putting more marketing dollars in commercial, and I'm gonna also put marketing dollars in personal lines. But my priority, when I see my average and premium and commissions that I get paid, it's higher in commercial. So for instance, in a commercial account, you make around $800 per account. In auto is like $150, and then for a home maybe $200 in average, right? So which one do you want to spend more money? Do you want to spend that one staff member that is going to bring you $200 or $150, and that one payroll? Because for me everything is payroll, right? Our majority of expenses, it's in payroll. So I want to focus on a line of business that is going to bring more revenue than a line of business that is you're still going to have that employee to serve those policies.
Commercials, they shop way less than
exactly
consumers.
So commercial accounts, customers, they get rate increase and they just pay it. It's not like the auto and home that they get $1 increase and they call you. And then in customer service too, we have less service. So commercial it's fun because you can also cross-sell auto and home from the commercial accounts. those business owners, they own cars, pretty nice toys, and they also own they also need financial services. So we are cross-selling simple IRAs, 401ks, and investments accounts.
Key person insurance, all that stuff.
Exactly.
And California is so like, it's such a huge state. So much population out there. We're slowly writing some business out there. I have family in San Diego, and it's been nice for Cali to be open again, just because we haven't, I guess, had a desire to write out there. So we talked about, getting through, I guess 2020 and then the insurance crisis, and I feel like it's still a struggle, but things are, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like if you could survive that, like, you're going to be really good. So I'm excited to see where you go over the next couple years with the momentum that you have. Talk to me about what you do for marketing. How are you growing your book? You said you got introduced to, or you not introduced, but you started doing internet leads. You do a lot of social media. You do a great job of social media. I know a lot of insurance agents don't. How do you generate business right now? Insurance agents, what is every agency's highest closing lead source without fail? Personal referrals. What if I told you I could help you turbocharge the frequency in which you got personal referrals? In the last 5 years, I've written over 5,000 items and $3.5 million in premium from inbound organic sources, and it cost me nothing. How? Because posting on social media is free. If you want to turn your agency into a referral machine, then go to nicksaka.com/creators and sign up for the Insurance Creators Mastermind, where me and my team will meet with you and your team twice a month to help you with something that no other agency is doing. Imagine having the guidance, the ideas, the trends, and the strategies that actually work in converting more business for your agency. Go to nicksaka.com/creators for more. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, we have a combination. People that think that you can have one marketing source and you're successful, that's not true. You got to have a little bit of everything. So in commercial, we have a telemarketer, 2 telemarketers that are on the phone calling businesses. We're saying just the typically, we're here to help you save some money. Let us quote your business. And then we go from there. Those 2 telemarketers are full-time. And those
they're in-house?
No, they're in Philippines.
Okay.
And then they are providing leads with information to my producers who will eventually finish the quote. But they get basic information because we don't want to, business owners are busy, So we don't want to have them on the line to get a quote 5 minutes. It's like a 2 minutes thing. I'm going to have a licensed agent reach out if they need more information. We have sources where we can find majority of the information that we need, but there's information that we call to verify and get the quote out. So that's for the commercial team. And then for the personal lines team, we do realtors referrals, and we also do the internet leads, which is, we're buying leads. I try to have 10 leads per producer a day.
Okay. And then do you have your team members do any sort of any requirement for business that they need to generate via social media or their own referrals, or?
We have target sales. We have 40,000 in premium for commercial producers. They had to do 40,000, 120,000 per quarter. So, and then the personal lines team, they had to do 30,000 in premium.
A month? Or?
A month.
Okay.
A month. Portfolio, 30 days,
What's the average premium per item in California?
A home right now, because everything went up, is around the $2,500 for a home. Wow. And then for one auto might be around the $2,500 as well.
Really?
Yeah, think about $250 a month for an auto policy on a regular adult. But if it's teenagers, they can be over $500 a month.
More.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's a nice premium.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think we're getting to the premium that we need to be able to stay in business.
Stay healthy.
Yeah.
California, so there's nothing. It was my dream. I wanted to own an agency in Vegas and then in San Diego. And then after the last 5 years, I was like, maybe I'll just stay here in Las Vegas. I don't know if I want to go through that.
But you know what? Everyone adapts to what they have. and every single state is going to have a specific thing that they deal with it.
Right.
And I think in California, agents had to adapt. And I just tell my team, this is what we have. And they are trying to say, we are going through inflation. We did not have the right pricing for home and auto because of the Department of Insurance. And we know this crisis was driven by the rates that we didn't get approved. And so my staff is trained to say that. And so people also are more like everybody else is going up. So people are, before they were very sensitive to the rate increase, but
Now they're almost.
all carriers had to drop rate increase 6 months back to back.
Yep.
Like every 6 months, policies going up. Yeah, so we had to adapt and play the game.
So, talk to me about how you have found quality team members. Like you have a staff of 9, you said?
Yes.
9. So how have you found good quality team members? Is it just while you're out and about, like recruiting, or job ads or social media? How have you found good people for your agency?
I think one of the first things that I did was getting better at myself, because sometimes we attract people related to what you are. Like I got to a point in my career, maybe 3 years into my career, that I was attracting just bad people. And then I realized there's not about them. There's something about me that I'm hiring these people. I'm allowing this happening to me. So what I did, I took some coaching in 101 and wanted it to get better at myself, understanding my shadows, understanding why do I react to this situation like this, what happened in my past, realizing that I have gone through so much pain and so much drama, and I needed it to clear that out so I can better myself. And so I started to put more work on me, more coaching, reading, and also listening to people like Brian Tracy. He has given me so much power, so much knowledge, and that helped me to identify the people that I want to. And so that's the thing that people don't understand, that I can tell you I use Ideal Trade. Many other agents use Ideal Trade, but they will hire according to what they have inside.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see somebody, now I have that power to read people, and I now have that power to say, I want this person in here. I want to put my energy, my training in this person. And I can identify when somebody is coming just to hurt me now. Because there is a lot of people that can hurt you in this business. You're a good person. You're trying to do good business. And then you find people, like 3 years into my business, I found this guy that came just to put a fraudulent workers' comp claim.
Oh, wow.
Like if I have boxes in my office that he left a box and he got injured, which never happened. So that was a workers' comp claim.
Wow.
And then I realized something I need to change. So that I attracted that person here. So I need to review better what I do, how I verify.
Were there signs that, or like in retrospect, was it like, there were red flags that this guy was gonna do something like that?
Yes,
or
I knew it. I had to let him go, but I was preparing his file to let him go. Like you can in California, you cannot let somebody go without a proper documentation. You had to put warnings in place, coaching that you did work with that person to get it better to what they do, and if you don't, then they file for unemployment, and then you get your insurance and employment higher every time. So I had to put his file, and when I was preparing his file, I knew this guy was going to do that. I knew it.
You just had a gut feeling.
Just.
Were there signs early on, though? Because he was with you for how long?
He was with me for 3 months.
3 months. Never mind. So that's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
Wow. Was he... Oh, anyway, we don't have to go too far into that. But no, I think it's very powerful. I love that you look inward versus outward. I love that you listen to Brian Tracy. He's one of the GOATs. For me, it was Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins, like those. It's just so funny. Like, you meet people, and I can tell what kind of person how motivated they are, what kind of goals they have based on if they even know who Brian Tracy is or if they even know who Tony Robbins is. And I think Tony Robbins, everybody knows Tony nowadays, but it's crazy just by like that association, like, oh, they read self-development books versus they read Harry Potter books. And it's nothing wrong with like reading Harry Potter books, but it's like, I'm not trying to live in an imagination land or like, I want to learn about how I can become better and stuff. So I think that's really cool. I think we all have our fair share of attracting bad candidates, but we all make bad hires. But it's through the reps that you become better. So now, what do you look for when you're seeking? Now that you've done some of the inner work and you're more open to polished people, you're attracting them. Like, what are some of the things that you look for? That's like, I gotta have this person.
Well, when they do the assessment, I see how they answer the common sense questions, because if they get 3 out of 15 questions, probably I don't want to have that person in me. But also I do have in a deal trace, it lets you have a video recording interview before you actually take the time. Your time is worth it, right? So I have them take this interview online. They record themselves and they have a minute and 30 seconds to answer a question that they don't know until they read it. So that's when you know, oh, this person is going to be legit, or is going to say something that is actually what you are expecting them to, or what is the area that you want that answer to be. Like there's a question that says, if there is a way that you can break a company rule, what will be the justification to break a company rule? And they'll say, oh, depends on what my manager says. Maybe if I had to help a customer for something, And insurance, you can't break rules. You have to be by the book. You have to be by the book. So, yeah. So I actually focus on getting to know, once they pass that interview, getting to know them. What are their expectations? How do they see themselves in 3 years, in 5 years? If I have a college kid that he said, oh, I just want to work for a little bit, I'm looking for people that are going to stay with me, because I want to retain them. I don't want to be training every month or every 3 months.
Right.
So, and I want to retain people. And actually today in the conference, we were talking about that many staff members, they're not there for the pay. There is a culture that you got to develop in your agency. In my agency, they love to be there. They're friends. We don't allow gossip or those type of hating each other. Or no, we're a team. We're here to help each other. We are growing at the same level. It's good to have that compete in between you guys, but we're not yet trying to push you down so I can grow. No, we're helping each other. And that's the type of culture that I have in my agency. I don't allow people to talk bad about others. Mm-hmm. Even if it is my office manager that I had her and love her for 5 years, we don't do that. So, and she's my reflection. I see her and it's my reflection.
Yeah. I've literally let somebody go over, I found out from one manager that, and they said it in front of my service manager at one point, was like, he turned around when my sales manager left for the day. This guy turns around, he goes, hey, the managers here suck, don't they? And then my service manager was there and heard him say that.
Oh my God.
I let him go on the spot, and he was somebody, long story short, don't turn around and gossip. If you have a problem with one of the managers, then come and talk to me about it, or, but we're not going to do this whole gossiping game.
That's not appropriate.
Yeah. So, I think having those standards, having those expectations of people, and not being afraid to let somebody go if they cross the line or if they break the line. I wanted to ask you, what do your sales process look like? Are you involved? How are you training your team? Do you have talk paths? Do you have scripts? What does that look like in your agency?
Yeah. So we took
How often are you training, coaching? Like, talk about that.
Yeah, we have a process when we welcome a new team member. They're gonna go through a 1 week of auto knowledge, so they're gonna be trained on auto. The first day, I'm expecting them to answer the phone because I want to see how they are. How is their phone skills? If somebody doesn't have that, I'm sorry, but 90% of my business is through the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So if I see somebody is like is not getting multitasking, probably I wouldn't invest more training on that person, and I'm just gonna let it go. So the first week they are expecting to be answering the phone and to be engaging in chat, customer service, and then when I do a training, auto training, for example, I'm giving them a list that of call. So you're gonna call the whole day, and you are required to get 3 quotes this day. And those quotes, I explain you, I went through the quoting process. Now I want you to get the leads to say yes, and then do the quote. The first week, they get in on Monday. By Friday, they had to present me an auto quote from scratch. I'm going to call and I'm going to say, I need an auto quote. And you're going to go from A all the way till Z, presented. And if they don't do it at the first week, I will give them another 2 days to get ready through the weekend. And then on Tuesday, I want to see how they presented. And then next week, we're going to move on to home. If it is for commercial, I do pretty much the same. I start with one industry. We get a lot of training that day, and then I'm expecting always that I give a training. I said I'm expecting you to hands-on next day, and yeah, we do it like that. And hands-on training has been amazing because people, and then having scripts, people will do it at their own, but we'll have that kind of like that guidance.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Blad's training.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one training I haven't seen or experimented with, but I've heard really good things about it. So.
And I also have also an agency Tuesday training. We also get we also are members.
Okay, got it. So they're plugged into those training. Do you have a management team? Are you involved in the agency, or have you pretty much do you have any managers on your team?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one manager for personal lines, and she oversees of everything: renewals, the producers, and the customer service and personal lines. And then I have a manager in commercial.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Soon as if you're, I guess here's a question: is where I know you're going to go more into commercial, but what are some of your goals for the next 5 years with where you want to take everything?
I want to grow my book of business to at least 15 million. I think that's a reachable goal in the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. And then I want to have at least 30 employees. And then I also want to build my own nonprofit on the side.
Nice.
Yeah.
We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
What kind of nonprofit?
I do believe that if you want to help people, you got to help them in training and knowledge. So there is a project that I have been helping the last 2 years, which is Prosperity Homes. And they build homes already for low-income families in Ensenada, Mexico. But I think there's a missing puzzle in the project, and I think the knowledge part, where we can train them to become business owners, for example. And they have the opportunity to learn, okay, they have the resources, they just don't know it, they don't have that vision. If we can have like a facility where they can get knowledge on, what do I need to have a business? What is the things that I need to have? And so that I think that's powerful. So they can become more sustainable. Mm-hmm. Like they can be their own income. They don't expect somebody to bring something to them.
Right.
But that becomes with knowledge. I think that's education.
Yeah, absolutely. Teach them how to fish. Teach them how to be resourceful. I think it's very powerful because I don't think a lot of people actually have access to that. So when you said Ensenada, I did some volunteer work in.
I
in
saw
some, it was a long
that.
time ago.
I love it.
My friend has an orphanage out there, and who knows? Maybe I should get you connected with him somehow. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think that could be a powerful connection.
Yeah,
So,
the
'cause
orphanage. I mean, I literally cried when I went there and I saw your videos and I was in tears. I cry for everything. Sorry.
you got a
But
big heart.
yeah, I mean that orphanage. I mean, a lot of kids with no parents there, right? And you see them playing and being happy. And sometimes you're here have everything
We're
on
still ungrateful.
and you're waking up or grumpy and saying, "Oh, look at the weather. Oh, today is raining. Oh, it's a blessing. It's raining. Oh, it's sunny. It's a blessing."
Yeah.
But people complain here for small things like, "I cannot believe it." And so when you go there and you see these kids playing, being happy, and they don't have kids, they don't have a home, they have so much need, and they're happy
Yeah.
with the opportunity to be alive. So it's a really amazing area that I want to support more. And some people say when I have this much of money, I will do this. But I think you can be a difference in your community with small things like serve your time to go feed people that are in need. And even in your own city, there is a lot of homeless that needs to be fed. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
We're just thinking, oh, I need $1 million to do that. You don't. Yeah.
Got to be faithful with the little before you can be faithful with
Amen.
with the big. What are some of the things that you track in your agency religiously?
We track sales activities. So one of the things that I learned from Vlad as well, it's like activities drives sales. So everyone who gets hired from the first day, they know what they need to do because I set expectations. To reach this much of premium, we need this much of quotes, but to reach this much of quote, this is the daily activities that we need to do. We need to have at least between 100 to 150 calls a day, and then we need to engage in text, email with clients. And then if you can get 5 quotes a day and you only make 10 calls, that's perfect. I don't mind. Or you can have 1 sale per day, a sale, or 5 quotes, or 3 hours of talking time.
Okay.
I measure talking time because we are 90% over the phone business.
Right. How did you get involved with social media? Because I feel like you do it naturally. I don't know if it's just who you are, if it was part of your strategy when you first got started, like sharing everything, but like you're constantly documenting and kind of shining your light, and you're like, I think you do a great job of just telling the story and highlighting, your wins, shedding light on your losses, even when things aren't going well. But you've done a great job of this. So was that always a strategy, or were you just like, I'm just going to share everything? Like, how did you get a process of social media?
Yeah, I'm still learning from you, okay? I'm still learning, but I believe that social media is more about like an organic public that you can attract. Like you can have 60,000 followers, but nobody's liking your content, or nobody's actually asking you for a quote. That's when you said, okay, something's not good here, right? But my followers, I have probably like 5,000 or 4,000 in Facebook, and I have probably like 1,300 in Instagram, which I opened it at least 2-3 years ago. So, but I believe that it's more like that people don't want to be sold. People want to see real people. Mm. So just want to see that. I just try to show what I am. There is videos that you see online. That's what I am. I'm not here to do this and that. And in real life, I'm somebody else. People want to do business with real people that have family, that they can see what are you doing, how is your team. They can get to know you, because this is a business of trust. They had to trust you. Why would I let Nick give me an auto quote? Why would I let your team quote me? So because they want to know you, they trust you, and they want to do business with you. So I took a few courses on online present, but it's more like people wants to see you real.
Mm-hmm. I love that. You absolutely nailed it. You literally crushed everything that I believe. So, um, and so do you get a lot of business from organic? Like you just see them coming like, hey, I need a quote. Like just by doing that, and then does your team see the same result?
Yep, we get a lot of referrals from realtors that are in my social media, and they know me for 3 or 4 years. I think social media, it's a passive marketing. You're not gonna get as much as leads you get from internet leads,
Right.
but it's you have higher rate of closing those referrals, because referral has higher closing radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when a realtor refer me someone, it's almost 80% of the time that I'm gonna close that deal, and it's very pace. I mean, it's not gonna be like a lot at once, but it's a really in the business those referrals,
Oh yeah.
they stick longer in
Mm-hmm.
your book.
And
Retention
business
is
owners know a lot of business owners. So, and a lot of times, I don't think that like highly successful people are going on the internet looking for quotes. Like they're asking somebody, like, "Hey, who do you know?" Like, "Oh, I have a guy." And so it's like you want to attract those top tier clients and people. I'm not saying all like highly successful people. Some of them are needy. Some of them are, a little extra, but more often than not, I do think that it's especially in the commercial side. Like I I would love to tap into that. That's the only part that makes me want to go independent. Um, okay, so my last two questions for you are: if you could sit down with the mailing of 2013 or 2018 before you started your agency, and give yourself advice on how to grow faster, grow smarter, grow more effectively, like what would you tell her?
Yeah, I would say trust and delegate more. My first 2 years I was doing everything. I was the cleaning lady. I was the customer service rep. I was the salesperson. I was the HR person. I was doing everything. And when you get to a point where you're knowledgeable and you know what you're doing, that's the time where you have to replicate yourself. And if I had to go back to 2020, I will hire double of what I have right now,
Mm.
because my book at this point should have been bigger if I should have more staff. And I didn't know, because I didn't do it because I didn't trust people. I said, no, they're not going to take care of my customers like I do. No, they're not going to do it. No, they're not going to put that coverage that I need in that policy. No, you got to trust. You got to trust and surrender. Like, other people can do it if you train them to do it. Just replicate yourself with other people, and then invest it, because my agency is from scratch. I did not have any policies. I did not have any renewal income. So I will say, like, there's the banks. The banks can lend you money for staff. And I did that 3 or 4 years into the business that I got my first loan, $100K, and I was like, how am I gonna do that? How am I gonna do that to pay $100K? That was like a big money for me, right? And then I hire and I bought internet leads. I invested in marketing, and I did double that year of the money that I got from the bank. I not only paid the bank, but I got bonuses. I qualified for trips. I doubled the money in the first month. So don't be afraid. When you know what you're doing and you trust yourself, you have a marketing system, of course, and you have a training system for your staff. Don't be afraid to get a loan and fund your staff.
It's not risky when you know what you're doing.
It's not.
Yeah.
And when you have a clear goal of where you're going to, and you got to be secure of yourself too, because the person that you talk more is with yourself every day. And if you're telling yourself that you're going to fail, you're going to fail. But if you're telling yourself, be positive, get the right training. And it's not only being positive and waking up thinking that everything is going to happen, right? You got to do some work. You got to listen to podcasts like you, mentorship. You got to get some marketing ideas from other agents. And you're going to be successful when you put the work to, but also trust and get those funds. You're going to be able to do it when you do all these things.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, it's a lot more effective to use that money towards your agency than I think what happens is agency owners, they like to start saving and getting conservative and just kind of storing money away when in reality, like that feeling of being uncomfortable, you should keep your back against the wall. We're 8 years in, and you know, I even fall into that habit where I'm like, well, let me just buy a little bit of this investment. Some stocks right here. I find myself like, oh, I'll buy some Bitcoin or I'll buy some like Tesla stock. And then in my mind, I sit back and I'm like, would this money be better off going into Bitcoin or Tesla or into my agency where like I know the return that I'm going to get with this? Like I control this one versus putting it on Tesla, right? Like, I don't know what that's going to...
Yeah, no, and investment is good, and diversifying your investment is good. I do have also investments, but I think the bad part is when you become so greedy on yourself and you start wasting money when you are only like 5 years or 10 years into the business. I think you got to invest back. And one of the things that I did is like I will literally keep it simple life until I get more renewals, until I recover. And even when we have this type of recession that we have in this type of, I call it a like cycle. We have a cycle in the insurance industry. Last year, I lost a lot of premium. So I got to keep simple things so I get it. I can invest back to the business, more leads, more marketing, more staff.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about in the next 3 months, I'm going to hire 2 more and I'm going to keep growing. Yeah.
My old mentor used to tell me, you can spend $100,000 on more staff and marketing and get a 30% discount from the government, from Uncle Sam, or you can spend $100,000 and go buy a boat and then pay that in taxes.
Exactly.
So you get a discount when you're basically reinvest into your business.
Exactly.
All right. So the last question I have for you, before I do, just want to acknowledge you, say thank you for joining me on our podcast and sharing your wisdom, sharing your experiences. You're a wealth of knowledge. You know a lot, and I think that shines. Like you can tell that you've done a lot of the work to being around the right people, reading the right books. I see you go to the gym all the time, which is awesome.
Of course, yeah, you got to take care of yourself.
Yep. So, and then also your heart with everything you want to do nonprofit wise and for, as it relates to the youth and kids and I don't know if it's Ensenada or all over the world, but I love that. But the last question I have for you is the definition of A1, which are of the highest standards. And I like to ask every guest, what are 3 standards that you live your life by?
3 standards. I would say self-care. It's priority in my life. Self-care. I'm not able to put my oxygen to somebody else unless I am healthy. So self-care is 1. And then honesty. You got to be honest to yourself and to the people around you. And I will say the last one will say there's a lot, but integrity. Okay. That's my 3 standards. There's no negotiable on those.
I love it. And how can people find you if they wanted to connect with you on Facebook or Instagram?
Yep, they can follow me on social media, Meyling Marin. You put it there so they can find me. I'm not from China. Everybody that says Meyling, they're thinking I'm from China or somewhere in Asia. No, I'm from Nicaragua. So Meyling Marin, and Instagram you can find me as Meyling insurance_agent.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. If you guys got value, like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you guys in the next one.